When it comes to Sonic games, we can definitely say that Sonic is probably one of the most popular characters out there in the gaming franchise, especially considering the fact that Sonic Movie 3 literally came out a couple months ago, and I guarantee you Sonic has gotten even more fame than he did before. Now, two of the most loved games in the Sonic community and the fans is Sonic Unleashed and Shadow Generations. Now, I personally think that Shadow Generations might be the more popular and more loved game as of right now, considering the fact that, like I said earlier, Sonic Movie 3 literally came out as of recently, and many people are starting to know Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, I could be wrong, but you guys can correct me down in the comments down below, because Sonic Unleashed is also a loved game, and considering the fact that it's been loved, as of recently we have gotten Sonic Unleashed recompiled. So yeah, today we're going to be taking a deeper dive into seeing which game is better, especially when it comes to newcomers. Now let's start off with Shadow Generations. Now Shadow Generations literally released October 25th in 2025. This game came as a bundle with Sonic Generations and, of course, the new game, which is Shadow Generations. It's two games in one, and everybody, when they saw the announcement, was freaking out. Everybody was going crazy because they didn't actually expect for a Sonic Generations remaster, which, to be honest, they kind of didn't really remaster Sonic Generations. The main deal was Shadow Generations. That was the big thing, the big prize. And of course, many people were excited for a Sonic Generations remaster, but, Shadow Generations, we haven't had a good Shadow game in a long time, because we don't consider Sonic Forces. Yeah, that game, yeah, buddy, we don't talk about that game.
Ew, you nasty ass bastard! You fucking nasty ass motherfucker! That's nasty, man!
Now, when it comes to Shadow Generations, the story is phenomenal. Many people loved the story. When it comes to the story, it's more of a blast to the past with Shadow, as he has to face many different enemies and things that come to haunt him, especially considering the fact he has to see Maria and Dr. Gerald again. And of course, we get to see a classic old villain return, Black Doom. Now in Shadow Generations, we get these abilities called the Doom powers, and I'm not gonna lie, they're a ton of fun to use. When you use the Doom powers, there's a bunch. For example, you get the Doom wings, Doom spear, Doom morph, and there's some other ones that I didn't mention as well. And this was a whole game changer when it came to this specific game, because we've never seen anything like this before. We've never seen any sort of new mechanic to where you can just surf in water, fly with wings, and all of these other cool abilities that they have introduced. So big props to Sega for introducing these brand new things. I really hope we get to see these powers and abilities in future games. Of course, with Shadow, because he's the one that got them. Now, when it came to the actual gameplay, the 3D gameplay was probably the best aspect of this game. Everybody loved the boost formula in this game, because this game pretty much perfected the boost formula, as many people had many complaints in the past about the boost formula with Sonic. The boost formula in this specific game was so good. It felt so smooth, and the gameplay was just so good. So big props for Sega for fixing it. Everybody loved the 3D levels, and every act had a 3D level. With every act 1, my bad, had a 3D level. Now when it came to the act 2, this was more of a 2D section, and yes, they looked phenomenal as well. Everybody loved the 2D sections. The only level that I seen that many people didn't like, and me personally as well, is Rail Canyon. I personally feel like Rail Canyon was probably the weakest one, as you don't actually get to use the full abilities of Shadow and actually run on a surface. And of course, during these levels, mostly the beginning act levels, there was a section in where Black Doom comes in and of course teleports you to a radical highway section of the game, which is pretty cool, but sometimes I felt like it was kind of repetitive, because it did happen in like maybe 4 or 5 different levels, and it was cool, but at the same time it was kind of like, all right, can I just play the full-on level? But it does go back to your previous level. For example, you were in Rail Canyon, then he pops in, and then boom, you go to Radical Highway, and then boom, you go back to Rail Canyon. So that was a pretty cool thing, pretty cool touch that Sega did. So big props to them. I love that feature, but at the same time, it felt kind of repetitive, but you can't really do anything about that. Now, when it came to the full-on level designs, I loved every single aspect of every single level. They look so beautiful, especially I think my personal favorite, Kingdom Valley. That specific level just felt so beautiful. The lighting and everything in this specific level was just so good. I love the bird, they brought him back, and yeah, it just felt a breath of fresh air, if we're being completely honest. So yeah, big up for Sega for all the level designs, because they felt so good. I don't know, man. I could just be geeking out, but that could just be me though. Now, last but not least, we do have the bosses in Shadow Generations, to which I can definitely say they brought back so many good villains. Villains such as BioLizard, Metal Overlord, which is crazy, and of course, the most goated one to me, Mephiles. And of course, we do have the actual final boss, to which it is Black Doom, but of course, he actually transforms into Neo Black Doom. Now, when it came to the actual bosses, they felt very new to us, and it wasn't necessarily super difficult and not necessarily too easy, as you had to use every single Doom ability in the game. For example, when you fought Metal Overlord, you actually had to use the Doom Surf, and when you fought Mephiles, you had to use Doom Morph, and of course, you use Doom Morph when you fought Black Doom, and of course you use it when he goes into his Neo Black Doom phase, which is pretty goated and pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much for the entire boss section of this game. The bosses felt very kind of simple in a way, but at the same time not necessarily too simple, as you did have new abilities to use against these bosses. Now let's move on to Sonic Unleashed. Oh boy, Sonic Unleashed. Dude, the name just brings back so many memories, and it just seems so unreal that this game exists, because this game is probably one of the most beloved games in the Sonic community and to many fans. Sonic Unleashed was probably the first, I know the official first ever boost formula type of thing in Sonic was obviously in Sonic Rush, but we don't count that because that's technically the Nintendo DS version, while an actual modernized version of a console would go to Sonic Unleashed, because that's the first ever game we got to experience the full-on boost formula of Sonic going super extremely fast, and everybody loved that. The day levels were truly a masterpiece, and everybody went wild and crazy when they saw and experienced this game for the first time. Now, we're going to separate each different category, just like how we did with Shadow Generations. Now, before anything, I just wanted to get this clear out there, because I just love the way how this game looks. The CGI and everything in this game just looks absolutely beautiful. That opening cutscene for this game has to be at least the best Sonic cutscene in the entire history of Sonic games. I'm not even kidding. That opening cutscene where Sonic goes supersonic, runs through every single egg robot, is truly a masterpiece and phenomenal. Just wanted to get that out there. That's just my own opinion though. So let's go and continue with the video. Now, when it came to the story, it's pretty much a very basic story, the most generic Sonic type of plot in every one of these Sonic games, as you would have to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds and boom, defeat the final boss, which is pretty generic. I did do a video on that a while back in case you want to see it, but he does have to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds because Dr. Eggman, unfortunately, his plan did backfire and he released the Dark Gaia, to which Sonic has to go supersonic, because if not, the Dark Eye would literally just destroy everything. So yeah, story, it's pretty cool, but at the same time, it's kind of repetitive, repeating Sonic history with 7 Chaos Emeralds and defeating the final boss, which is cool, but you know, pretty generic and basic. Let's move on to the actual levels and gameplay. Now, when it came to Sonic Unleashed, the gameplay of this game was truly phenomenal. Now, I'm gonna split it because there is a day level and a night level to this game. Now, for the day levels, they go by so quickly. That's probably my own complaint for this game, that the day levels go by so quickly because of how much fun you're going and doing with the boost formula. Because this game with the boost is probably the thing that sold the most to every single Sonic fan. The boosting was just so much fun, and the fast pace of the game just felt very good, and it just felt like a true experience to feel like Sonic. So yeah, day levels, 10 out of 10. Now, when it comes to the night levels were it took a complete different turn. I don't know what Sega was thinking. Now, I'm not a huge fan, but I do respect the night levels, the Werehog. So when it comes to the night levels, it's more of a combat-based section of this game, and it does take longer than the actual day levels. That's probably my only complaint about the game. I do have some things to complain about the game, but this video is specifically not to complain about the game. But yes, I did enjoy some of the night levels, even though they were kind of hard on me. But yeah, it's more combat based, and like I said, it's longer, but you'll get used to it. And it's pretty fun because then you get to upgrade your Sonic level and EXP and all that type of stuff, and you do get stronger as you do progress in the story and complete every single level, which is a fun experience as you do get stronger to hit every single one of these little, I don't know what they're called again, little ghost things that he fights and beats up. But yeah, they're really, really fun. So that's all I gotta say for the night levels. Now, when it came to the actual level design, I have to say that I loved the day levels. They felt so cinematic, so good. They felt so fast-paced, like I said earlier, and it was truly just phenomenal. Everything about the day level, like I said, I give it a 10 out of 10. Everything just felt so good, and yeah. Now, when it comes to the actual night levels, it's a completely different take, as they did feel a little bit repetitive sometimes, not all the time, and they did introduce some new gimmicks, such as grabbing onto vines and pretty much swing across to the next thing. Not necessarily swinging, but you know what I mean. He would have to hop from one thing to the next thing, and of course he would grab onto these specific thing, twirl, and then go up. It's like, I can't really explain it to you, but it's there in the game. But it's pretty fun. It's a new mechanic and new gimmick that they introduced in this game, since they did introduce the YEOOO, which is a completely different take to Sonic's fast-paced level design. Now, when it came to the bosses, once again splitting them from day and night, the day level bosses felt somewhat a little bit harder compared to the actual night levels, as the bosses felt a little bit more tedious. But it could just be me, once again, skill issue on my part, as the bosses had new gimmicks and unfortunately you had to play around them, and yeah. But overall, they were a great experience. The bosses were somewhat harder than the ones in Shadow Generation, so I do have to give Sonic Unleashed that. The bosses were a lot harder, but yes, they were a lot of fun to do in the day level. Now, going on to the night level, I'm not gonna lie, the night level bosses just felt a lot, like, super easier than compared to the actual day level bosses. I don't know what it is, but I think the YEOOO, since it's a combat-based type of section in the game, you do have to actually hit them and do punches and to do many other type of tricks, as there's no gimmick to play around the actual boss. And I'm personally not even gonna lie, for the night bosses, I actually do prefer the night bosses compared to the actual day level bosses, as they did feel a little bit more fun, as you do have a lot of more things to do. You can throw obstacles at the actual boss and different things like throw boxes, and there's some new type of gimmicks that you can implement with the YEOOO, where most of the time during the day levels you would just be boosting around the boss and, you know, be hitting them and all that type of stuff, which is cool, don't get me wrong. But the night levels, I have to give it to the night levels, they felt a lot more fun. Now, I recently did a poll, which was crazy, but 3 weeks ago, I put Shadow Generations and Sonic Unleashed to the test to see which game is better to your eyes, in the fans and community's eyes, and surprisingly enough, Shadow Generations won by a long shot. But yes, many people do love Sonic Unleashed at the same time, so I gotta give it to both the games. They're both phenomenal games. There's not a specific winner here, but if I had to choose one, I would definitely pick Shadow Generations. Number one, the controls are a lot better compared to Sonic Unleashed, even though Sonic Unleashed is a very old game, and it did get a PC port with Sonic Unleashed recompiled once again, so you can obviously change the controls and all that stuff. But once again, Shadow Generations for newcomers is probably the better game, as the controls feel a little bit easier. It's a shorter game. It comes bundled with 2 games, Sonic and Shadow Generations, but specifically Shadow Generations, yes, the story is a lot shorter, but I feel like many people would understand it a little bit more, and the game overall just feels a lot easier compared to Sonic Unleashed. But yes, I do love both of these games. If you guys haven't played any of these games, I highly recommend you play both of these games, as Sonic Unleashed is the first ever game with the boost formula to go crazy. And yes, I feel like you would absolutely enjoy Sonic Unleashed as well as Shadow Generations. So there's, like I said, there's no winner here, but if I did choose one, I would definitely pick Shadow Generations, as, you know, it comes bundled with another game. So yes, sir. Let's go crazy with this one. Once again, we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Once again, thank you for all the support. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments down below, as I do like to interact with you guys and see what game do you think is better, and which game do you highly recommend to newcomers and other type of people who haven't played anything in the Sonic franchise. So yeah, I catch you guys in the next one. Once again, I don't do this, but if you guys are brand new to the channel, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, because we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. We're like 3 subs away. And yeah, I catch you guys in the next one. For now, stay safe and peace.